Hello, fourth graders. Mrs. Cates here. I just wanted to stop by and give you your next science lesson, get you started on it. And before we do anything, I just want you to stop and look at that gorgeous picture of our Earth. Isn't that just beautiful with all the stars in the background? Love it. It almost looks like a painting. It doesn't even look like it could be real, but it is. How lucky are we? So, our Earth is a very special place. It gives us exactly what we need to survive. So, you know that all over the Earth, there are lots of different unique places and lots of different things that can happen. So, as we move forward, I want you to be thinking about how do we prepare? So, we know that we always want to be safe. And when you're at school, we always practice for things just in case something were to happen, like a fire drill. We always practice what would we do, where would we go to be safe. So as we look at the different processes that happen here on Earth, I want that to be in your mind. What would we do? How could we be safe if something were to happen here where we are? Okay, so I'm going to disappear and we're going to look at some different things. So check out this picture, these pictures. As you're looking around the screen, do some of those look familiar to you? Could you name some of those processes that you're seeing? I see a volcano erupting. I see the image of a hurricane. I see lots and lots of rain, maybe some flooding happening, some buildings that have been destroyed for whatever reason. We don't know why. So these are things that happen on Earth. How do we prepare to make sure that we're safe if those things were to happen where we are? So that's that question I want you to think about. How can we as humans prepare for and reduce the impact of Earth's natural processes? These are things that are meant to happen. Our weather controls these things. And so we need to know, what do we do to make sure that not only are we safe physically, but the world around us is the least amount of damaged as it could be? What could we do? So look at some of those pictures. I see a tornado. Is that something that we have to think about here where we live? Yes. A volcano. Is that something we have to think about where we live? No, not usually. We usually just see that on the news. And then the middle picture is a hurricane. Is that something we have to think about here? No, because we don't live close to an ocean. What about this picture? It's a wildfire. Do we ever have to worry about wildfires? Sometimes there are fires. We don't usually have really big, massive fires, but sometimes we see those on the news also. And then this last picture looks like an earthquake, maybe a sinkhole. Sometimes that's something that we hear about also on the news. So these are things that could possibly happen at any time. We don't always know when something like this will happen. Sometimes we have some warning, like with a tornado. Usually the meteorologist will give us some information that says this could be a possibility. A hurricane, usually we know at least a few days before. We can kind of track its path to know where it's going to go. But then, like an earthquake and a volcano, we don't always know that those things are getting ready to happen. So let's keep moving. Here is a video that I want you to watch that will give you more information about our big topic today, earthquakes. So watch that video, and as you're watching it, I want you to be thinking, what am I learning that I didn't already know? What's something that I did know, and this is validating what I knew? And then what safety information am I getting in this video to help me prepare for an earthquake? Okay. When you finish watching the video, this is a challenge. Could you build a seismograph? A seismograph is the tool that scientists use to measure the vibrations in the earth. So here's a way that you could build one. And then I want you to think about, could I make some changes to this seismograph and what would happen to my recordings? Would my vibrations increase if I add more mass or decrease if I take away mass? Does it stay the same no matter how much mass is in my cup that I'm using? Does the shape of my box, we're going to refer to that as the building, does that change the vibrations at all? Does the shape of the building change the vibrations at all? So kind of play with it and see what happens as you make changes to your seismograph. Also, not only do we want to know why different things happen, but we want to know what do we need to do as people to stay safe. So here is a video about staying safe. There is also a poster about what you would do before to prepare, what you would do during, and then what you would do after. And then I want you to have that conversation with your family members. So what if there was an invention that could tell us when an earthquake would happen? It could predict when an earthquake would happen. And we knew, hey, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, there's going to be an earthquake. Then what would we do as families to prepare for that? What would be the things that we would know we needed to gather? What would be the safest place to be in our homes? Who would maybe we need to check on to make sure they're ready and going to be okay? So make a plan, write it down, or you can create a poster of what you would do to prepare for an earthquake. Have that conversation with your family members so that everyone in your family knows what to do to be safe. I'm thinking about when the fire department comes to our schools and they always have us practice. I know usually when we're in the smokehouse, they always tell us to go to the mailbox. If there was a fire in this house, our safe place is our mailbox. So what is your family's safe place if there were to be an earthquake at your house? Okay. And then if you want to know more, you can click on any of these books, images, and it will take you to Epic. If you do not know how to get into Epic, talk to your teacher. You should have a library tech card from the Bentonville Library that you can use if you cannot get right in here. But your teacher can definitely help you with that. So you can click into the book and you can read about these different natural processes and find out more information. So much cool stuff in there. So any of the books have those links and they'll go directly there for you. Taking a minute to load it. So yeah, any of them. There are also more books on Epic if you want to read more and find out more. And then the last thing you might be thinking is, well, Miss Kate, I'm in Arkansas. Usually I think about earthquakes in California and other places. I don't usually think about earthquakes here. And you're right. That's not usually something too often that we have to worry about. But even at my house in Bella Vista, I have felt an earthquake here in Arkansas. So they do happen. So the next and last slide, you can click on this map and it will take you to the U.S. Geological Survey website. And it will tell you every place that an earthquake has happened recently. So I know we live somewhere right around here. So if I click right here, it tells me that there was an earthquake in Longton, Oklahoma today. It was not a very big earthquake. It was only a magnitude 2.6, but it did happen. And because of the tool they have, that seismograph, they were able to record that earthquake happening. Now, here's another dot close to us. Oh, this one is in Arkansas. It happened in Arkansas. It happened yesterday in Pocahontas, Arkansas. So you can explore, and it changes all the time because earthquakes may always be happening. Depends on the day, right? So you can see around these fault lines, there's been a lot more activity. And that's kind of cool to see how those are happening, even when we may not be feeling them. Okay, so go ahead and share anything you create with your teacher. Let he or she know what you're learning about with earthquakes and your safety plan of how you're going to stay safe. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.